Welcome to Try This at Home. I'm Cliff Bumgardner.
I'm back. I'm Harrison. I'm still Harrison.
During the intro music, Harrison choked on a Coca-Cola.
It's true. Choking down on a Coca-Cola Zero.
This episode brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero. It kills
Coca-Cola
podcast
Zero.
hosts.
Please sponsor me anyway. Hey, Cliff, quick question. Can we say cum?
I guess we'll find out.
And he's marking it. All right. Well,
Well, what a way to come
that's
back.
my answer.
Your grand return to here on Try This at Home.
To come back. Yes. See, now you don't know. With that second one,
Now
you
we don't
know.
Now it's
Do I edit it? Is it an O or a U? Who
Well,
knows?
the more we talk, the harder it's going to be for me to edit it out. So I guess we're here now.
Sure is. You don't have to turn this around quick, do you?
Nah, it's fine.
We're not recording on the day of release, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Ridiculous.
speaking of that, we're very glad to have you back on the show. Had some personal stuff going on, but you are back. And after this week, regular episodes will resume. And want to give a big shout out and a thank you to Brockton McKinney and Chris Lee for coming on and guest hosting, I should say, in Harrison's absence. I need somebody to host for me. I can't talk.
Guest hosing.
But it is great to have you back. The boys are back. And ready.
Boys are so bad.
And we're ready to do a show.
Well, we're back.
We're back, yeah.
For sure, we're back. That I'll agree to. I don't know about the rest of it.
It's as good as it's ever been. Well, this week...
That bad, huh? Things are that dire? Jeez.
This week, our myths are son of a gun, phone in a thunderstorm, and trailer troubles, which I thought was going to have a lot more to do with rednecks, but we'll get there when we get there. This episode...
In a way. Cliff, in a way.
In a way, well, fair.
In a way.
I was thinking different kind of trailer, but we'll get there.
Yes.
It originally aired January 5th, 2005. We're in 2005.
We're in 2005.
We've made it through 2 years of Mythbusters. How
That's
crazy is that?
incredible.
Yeah.
It is crazy. There's a big note on this episode, Cliff. The very first, so we're 2 years into the series. This is the first episode that I absolutely 100% remember and ordered my life based on the results.
Oh, very cool. You no longer shoot
Isn't it?
soldiers in the groin.
Well, I mean, I didn't say that. I just make sure there's not a, shall we say, impressionable young lady behind him.
That's important.
Usually. Or is it? Find out today on Try This at Home. I kept reaching for Mythbusters.
We are so out of practice.
We're so back.
I'm not even
so back.
I'm not even through the credits yet, and we're already detoured because we're so out of practice. This episode was produced by our buddy Andrew Farrell and written by Mark Barlin, a name who has popped up more and more in recent episodes of the show. We already kind of jumped into it, but to get to overall thoughts, so you remembered this one beginning to end?
Ooh, so predominantly, so this one is actually responsible for a consistent, I don't know that I could necessarily call it a phobia because it's not irrational.
Yeah.
But Cliff, I have not taken a shower during a thunderstorm in 20 years, I guess.
And this episode is specifically why.
This is why.
Wow.
This one terrified me.
Wow. So
Terrified.
I grew up, we'll get to it when we get to it, but I grew up with that. My mom would tell me that. My mom would always say, don't take a
Same.
shower. So it's cool, but it's so that's where I had sort of gotten that from, and this just confirmed it. But you're actually tied, the fear is tied to Mythbusters.
Directly to this episode,
Wow.
which is even funnier when it gets to the conclusion and they call it one way or the other.
Yeah.
That was really funny that I was like, I've dumped a lot of fear into this.
I really liked this episode. It was fun. It's always fun to see them go back to the kinds of tests we've seen them do before, but to do it better. And this one, the lightning stuff reminded me a lot of the lightning and tongue piercing episode, and how in that episode, the cameras couldn't even capture what they were doing. And now they had some camera issues in this one too, because they're in a giant room of electricity, but still they were able to get it, and it looked a lot better, and everything flowed a lot better. So it's fun to be at that point now where we're seeing them in their stride and going back and like not revisiting myths, but revisiting territory. And now it's just part of the show. Now they just know what they're doing. They're just strutting their stuff. They're flexing. Thought it was great. It's awesome. The last myth did nothing for me. Did absolutely nothing for me. The boat and trailer myth.
The boat and okay. Mm-hmm. I thought that you meant because the way that it's edited, the final word in the episode is on "son of a gun."
Yeah, the last one they introduce, I should say.
I would agree with that, only because I don't know. They present a situation in the episode in which this could have happened or did happen.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I'm no sportsman. I'm not an outdoor guy. We don't get along, me and the outside world. I know that you're not supposed to. Like, I kept trying to figure out, like, how could you even get it to where the trailer came? We'll get there. But yes, that one was utter nonsense. However, I will say, I'm with you 100%. Bad myth. Even so, I thought this was an exceptional episode.
Oh, agree.
I absolutely loved it. That one dud was not enough to bring down the average. And it didn't even register. Honestly.
No, we're at the point where the worst of the show is still so freaking entertaining because of these people and these characters that we've gotten to know. 100%. It was a great episode. Excited to dig into it. Myth 1, phone in a thunderstorm. So this is what we talked about earlier. Old story. I think we all heard this growing up, that you should not be on the phone or in the shower during a lightning storm. And I had written down in my notes to ask you if you had heard this, but it seems like we both grew up with this as parental advice.
Partially. Now, you and I are of the age that when we were chillins, when we were young, when we were wee lads.
In the 1990s.
In the 1990s, of which I do not remember much, but the 2000s, they still had, landlines.
Yeah.
I've never heard the one about being shocked through the phone.
Oh, really?
That was entirely new. I've never even, and that's shocking because if you know my parents, if there is something that could reasonably or unreasonably be feared, they will do it and teach their progeny to do the same. So I'm really kind of shocked, no pun intended, that I had never heard the phone one. It was all about the shower.
Interesting. So growing up, we mostly had cordless phones, but we did have one landline in my parents' bedroom. Yeah. And that phone, I do remember specifically, my parents always saying, if there's a thunderstorm, don't get on that phone. Stay off of that phone.
Wow.
So I did hear that. And I thought that was one of the interesting things about this myth, even though the territory around it, obviously we've heard of, and it kind of makes just passing sense of how this might happen. I had never really thought about all the science of it. And they mentioned early on that it's really about how lightning travels through the house once it hits it. And when they got to stuff like, well, in your wall, a pipe could be right next to a big cable, electrical wire. And if if that causes a short, that could be the problem. That could be what happened. I had never thought about it in those terms before, of exactly what sort of the function of that would be. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that was just like, that was really the testing fun of this episode for me.
Well, I mean, I really approach lightning as someone from like the 1100s. Where like, it's just magic to me. I'm not going to do anything to mess that up. I'm not going to test anything near that. If there is an electrical storm, I'm just gonna be as absolutely chill and I'm not testing anything.
No.
You know, I'm not gonna rock the boat.
To this day, lightning to me is like near the top of my most scary stuff list. Like
Oh, really?
I find lightning, and I'm it's not like thunder. Like thunderstorms don't bother me. Lightning and the idea of what it can do. We actually our house, I don't know, a couple of months ago, there was a lightning storm and we had a power surge that knocked out a light in our shower. And so it's like the power of
That's terrifying.
Right? It's just
Danger close.
Like, and they mention, of course, it's wonderful in this one. They go to a lightning generator, which is just one of the coolest things that we've gotten to see them just get to play with on the show.
Great sentence.
Only Adam and Jamie. It's so awesome. But they mention when they're talking about this thing, they're like, well, we can't get anywhere close to real lightning. We can only make 700,000 volts. And I was like, well, that's pretty darn close. And then they reveal that real lightning is over 100 million volts. What?
Right. I'm sure that this was covered in the tongue piercing one, but when they said it again, I was like, oh, that's too many volts.
That's way too much. That is a lot of zap, zap, ouchie time. I'm not a fan.
Too much. Zeus, cool it, my man.
Yeah.
Just calm down.
No wonder he's the most powerful. I mean, come on.
He's just constantly throbbing. With electricity.
Wait till we get to Son of a Gun.
But also, yeah.
Talk about.
I'll try to hold my load. Even I didn't like that. That's one of those. There's no single word that warrants an editing. It's just kind of the whole thing. The idea of it deserves a bleep.
I hope that I can pull that clip because it's actually made worse by the face you made while doing it. We need to censor the whole thing. It just needs to fall out of the universe.
Just pixelate. Automatic. Like you don't even edit it. The universe is just like, I'm gonna go ahead and
there's just a glitch in the file, and it's just like we didn't save this. We didn't save it. We're not saving that.
We did you a favor. Come on.
Oh man. That was great. Welcome back to the show.
My grandmother recently said that she started listening to the show.
Hi.
So I'm a little worried about that. Hi, BB. Anyway.
Oh, wow. Well, I know that we're like fully Mythbusters brain broken when they build a miniature house and put a ballistics gel dummy in it, and I don't even think about it. Like, I don't even have many notes about it. It was just like, we're just, per usual, standard Mythbusters procedure. Because the testing on this, I mean, to kind of get stuck in that for a minute, the testing on this is pretty straightforward. They build a little house, they wire it up, they get it actually wired to code, which I thought was hilarious, that they have to bring in an electrician to help them, and the electrician literally says, "Are you sure it's plugged in?" Thanks, bro. Appreciate
and it wasn't.
And it wasn't.
And it wasn't. So look who's laughing now.
But then they make this little house and they're gonna shoot lightning at it from the gods. I mean, only on Mythbusters.
Why is perhaps this was in an episode that I was not on. Why is the dummy called Chip?
So I don't know. This is just another, this is a random ballistics gel dummy. This isn't a recurring character. There actually have been some changes to a recurring character that you're seeing for the first time in this episode that we'll get there in the next myth. Oh, I made a note of that.
Goodness.
You were last week. We had a big reveal on the show. That were 2 weeks ago now.
Missed it.
Yeah,
missed it.
Stick around for that. But yeah, a pretty straightforward test. When they fire this lightning generator up, the sound, the crackling ozone, like Satan's pizza oven.
It's awesome.
It's so amazing.
It's my favorite thing. Because It really does sound exactly like you would think, like the
Yes.
you know,
It's
like
Star Wars.
It is. It's Palpatine's lightning.
Straight up. Just wow.
Yes.
And they got this time around, they were able to get some really good high speed shots. At one point, Jamie describes the lightning bolt as being like the size of an anaconda, which I thought was just perfect. Like that is just a wonderful, horrifying description of what we were seeing at that moment. God, it's beautiful and terrifying. Electricity is just the scariest thing, man.
And in high speed, it's also more like I guess I expected it to like branch a little more, but this looks more plasma-y.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how else to describe it than that.
And again, they actually said for the test, they weren't even using the full power of their generator because they could get more amps out of it if they lowered the voltage. So they only do this at like 250, 300,000 volts. So
only
well, what I was going to say is everything that we're seeing and that we're talking about here, that's less than, I'm bad at math, like less than 1% of a real lightning bolt? If a real lightning bolt's 100 million? I mean, my God.
That's that. I don't think I want to exist anymore around lightning.
Right?
In general.
And to think that
which is a shame because I do really like lightning storms, but
yeah, to think about somebody being hit by lightning, like, jeez.
Be real with me. If that happened,
yeah,
you laughing?
If I'm the one hit or if someone else is hit?
No,
Ooh, that tickled.
No, if you saw someone else, do you think you would be able to hold it together to be like, oh my God, or are you gonna let out a first? I think
I have been prone in the past in moments of extreme shock to laugh. I have done that before, so it would not surprise me if my brain short-circuited and I laughed.
I just think that I've got to let myself have that moment first.
Yeah.
Before I can help.
Before the horror sets in.
Before the horror set in. And they're gonna. But before that happens, just a little... Man gets struck. Man pain. Yes. Oh, wow. Oh, I need to help.
I think
that's how
I feel like my reaction, my first thought would be like, I actually saw that. Like I've heard of that my entire life. I actually just saw that happen, and I'm going to be telling stories about this.
Ooh.
Because it's almost like a meme, or it's like
it is. Yes, it's like it's also like one of those brain breaking things.
Yeah.
Like I've talked to other people about this, and they agree that this is a thing that. There have been a few times in my life where I've seen something just so beyond the pale. Like not like, wow, that's really surprising.
Yeah.
That's a different emotion. I'm talking about the one where it should not exist to the degree that your brain kind of rejects it for a second.
Yeah, you don't believe it. Yeah.
No, I'm not. One was Bigfoot. I was driving through the woods in Virginia. This is true. And I looked off into the woods and I saw a Bigfoot and I was like, that's not, I don't want this. I don't want this responsibility. I don't want to know that this is a thing. Turned out it was just a very tall man with long hair wearing a fur coat. But you understand, and standing in the woods for some reason. But you understand why for a shining moment. Did you? You thought I was actually.
You had waited a full year and a half into our podcast, in 20 minutes into this episode, to drop on me that not only are you a Bigfoot believer, that you believe you saw one, and
I've seen him.
And the rest of this podcast was about to go out the window. There's no way, as a competent host, that I could just move on back to Mythbusters after that.
No, you can't. You're like, well, hang on. This is a Bigfoot podcast now.
Yeah.
Because what?
Welcome back to Try
What
This at
did you
Bigfoot. This is what we're doing from here on out.
Yes.
Bigfoot at home would have been. Yeah.
Bigfoot at home sounds kind of saucy. I like that. Bigfoot at home.
Go back to that face
lady.
you made earlier.
Oh, I don't even remember it. But yes, I think to watch someone get zapped by lightning would be the same thing. Where just like it just breaks your brain. You know, you're like, I don't. Like, you know, it can happen.
Yeah.
But no, it can't. You know.
And they talk about that early on with their first test. It was interesting. The lightning hits the house. It's terrifying, as we've talked about. But it doesn't actually shock the dummy. They've put paddles in the dummy's chest, as we've seen them do in the past, so they can get a reading if there's enough current across the heart to kill the dummy. And they don't. Nothing happens. But they talk about the fact that, you know, houses are made to a certain degree to withstand these kinds of things, and they have grounding. They actually try to direct the lightning to the ground and away from as much of the house as possible. And they had put grounding into their testing house, but the sheer amount of electricity created by a lightning bolt is far more than what they're testing with here, and far more than they're going to be able to replicate. So they then remove the grounding wire to kind of compensate for the fact that they just don't have nearly the power that an actual lightning bolt would have. And as soon as they do that, man, it's just zap, zap, zap. Just every single test. It lights the phone on fire at one point.
Which that's actually a really cool effect that, like, Jamie rigs it up with something so that it actually like catches fire.
So smart.
It's like a flare situation, so it looks incredible in addition to like telling them what they need to know, which I mean, again, that's a real strength of this show, is that there's so many of these things that you could give it a simple yes or no, up or down. And then also, how do you visualize something that is happening so quickly that even the high-speed cameras can't pick it up? And furthermore, how do I just make something catch on fire?
Yeah.
No matter what.
How do we add an explosion to this? Well, it reminded me when they did the peeing on the third rail myth and they rigged it where the dummy would fall if enough current. It was the same kind of idea, just genius.
Very similar.
Great way to visualize something that's not necessarily inherently visual. Just great stuff.
Arguably the greatest strength of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just staging, you know, is just the best in this. And I also think that's a big reason why this has been hard to duplicate.
Yeah.
Because I think it takes those two minds, I mean, and the minds of you know, all the, it's just such a unique skill.
Yeah.
To be able to be like, I know exactly how we're going to film this, because there's plenty of people that can come up with perfectly interesting ideas to test. How are you going to show that?
Yeah.
Is something that frequently just, especially since with Jamie, it's just, he's just straight to the point.
I know.
You know?
I know.
He's just like, well, we make it go on fire, of course. Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Heinemann.
That's what we do.
You do that.
That's the perfect.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well,
excellent.
To that point about trying to visualize it, they had a meter. I thought this was really interesting. They had an actual meter that was going to be showing the readings on the paddles. And they said it takes 6 milliamps across the heart. They learned that in the bathtub episode, that it takes 6 milliamps across the heart to kill them. They had the meter set to go up to 40 milliamps, and it fried the meter. I mean, like, off the jump. Twice. It kept happening. They couldn't get a reading. It just kept.
They couldn't get it to work.
I mean, Myth confirmed, like, bam, right off the top. I don't know that we've seen a that quick of a confirm so far on the show.
Well, but I thought, what I really liked about it is that they allowed inference in this one in a way that I thought made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like they were like, well, if it's enough to fry this thing and lightning is significantly stronger than that, you do the math, kid.
Yeah.
I think you're cooked in more ways than one.
Yeah. Well, and then the shower. God, when they talk, as we said, they talk about like a wire being near the pipe and they try to set it up, whatever. And it just works. And you can actually see the fire coming off of the wire into the pole and just like all the way down to the ground, burning a hole in the side of the house that they made. This is some of the most like visual destruction that's not like an explosion. It's not the cement truck. This is just like pure raw energy getting pumped through this thing. It's insane to watch.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it's excellent to watch.
Yeah.
It's the best. I mean, gosh, I just, some of it could be the fact that like, it's been a couple weeks since I've seen it, but like it is just, it's one of the most watchable shows.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Well, where like you can really just kind of jump in and figure out what's going on pretty easily. And that was, when this was in its prime and you actually had to catch television when it was on, that's a huge asset.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. They end up saying with this one that because the meter is fritzing out and they can't get a reading off the shower, they call the shower plausible, but say the phone is completely confirmed. And I'm with them. I don't think I had any notes on this. I loved this myth.
This would be called man's feeble attempt to generate lightning. We can't even come close to generate what Mother Nature can generate.
Well, good for Mother Nature.
Myth 2, son of a gun. Here we go. All right. I have had to extol, I should say, many stories as a host of this show. This one I'm going to earn my keep right here. So.
Oh, yes. Are you telling the story about how your balls got shot off?
Yeah.
It's my favorite one.
Oh, my personal
story.
story.
Favorite of yours. Yes. Oh, you didn't. Oh, not that one. Is the audience not supposed to know?
Oh. Can't cut it. Can't cut it. We've already gone too far. Can't cut it.
I'm sorry. Yeah. If only we knew the person that was editing this thing. But we don't. There's no way of knowing.
There's no way to know. It goes into the ether.
Your experience is identical to mine, where you just show up every week and then it just magically gets made, right? Is that?
Yeah.
That's how this works for you.
That's how it goes. AI. That's that's how this goes.
Oh. Sorry, I was just thinking about how content is going to be replaced in, I don't know, 2 years.
Yeah, we'll be gone.
Go on.
Welcome to Try This at
anyway,
Home.
Yeah, welcome to Try This at Home. Cliff shot his ball off. Ha 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 ha.
Euphemism. Insert joke here. Son of a Gun is the story of a Civil War soldier who was shot, had a bullet ricochet through his leg, bouncing off a bone in his leg, up through his family jewels, as they describe it. And the bullet actually goes all the way through him, hits a woman who is just watching the battle from the sidelines. And months later, this woman finds out that she is pregnant because she has actually been impregnated by sperm carried by the bullet.
That's how babies work.
Yes.
Cliff.
Yes.
I'm sorry that this has to be how you learn.
One stork shoots another stork.
Baby. What? That's how American babies are made, for sure. But like, just two storks in a Mexican standoff.
Yeah. It's a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Normally, I usually make a note after the stories to say, have you ever heard of this happening before? Don't.
But I have, because it happens to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm never getting off this joke. This is the joke now for the rest of the duration of the show. Not this episode, the show.
Definitely can't edit it out now.
You're going to make me watch 300 episodes? I'm going to tell everyone you shot your balls off. And you can't do anything about it because, again, the editor, no idea who he is.
No idea. He's powerless.
He's completely hand-tied. Is that a phrase? Maybe.
Yeah, that's a
So
phrase.
anyway, go on with what you were saying.
Yeah, let's get back to what's the show? So
Balls.
the idea here is they're going to break the myth into two parts and actually test this. One for could the
The
bullet
right and the left. I can go all day. Dude. Good luck trying to get through the rest of this. Not on my watch.
Oh, this has become a whole different show now. Now the thrill is just
It's been becoming this the whole time.
This is fair.
Let's be real.
This is
It's been
fair.
moving. It's been tracking in this direction.
powering through. So they need to see.
No, I'm good. No comments on that.
They need to see whether or not the bullet can actually go through someone. A bullet like from the Civil War could go through someone's tibia and through them and continue going with enough speed to hit somebody else. And then to see whether the biological material could actually survive that journey. That is how they are going to break this one down and test it. And of course, if you're going to do that, there's only one place to go. And that is, yikes, a Civil War reenactment. There's one moment that's just hard cut to
Hang on.
Confederate flag.
Yes.
And I was like, I was not prepared for that in Mythbusters. I know it was 20 years ago and the Civil War reenacting doesn't really happen much anymore and it's like a different time.
Yep.
But I was just not prepared for welcome to Mythbusters, Confederate flag. I just was not.
Hang on. You've been sitting on that voice?
Oh, yeah.
For an entire however many episodes?
It's my Bigfoot voice.
I need to. Yes, it is the Bigfoot and Balls show. Welcome back, everyone.
That is a morning zoo crew if ever there was one. Welcome back to Bigfoot and the Balls.
Woo! Hey, Bigfoot, I hear you got balls.
The foot is the only thing that's big. Okay. Good to-
Yes.
Now I'm stopping you
Yes.
from making a point.
His balls were big as well. That's very astute, Mr. Bumgardner. You can cut this. So just like right off the bat, Cliff, you and I are native, born and raised in the South.
Yes.
In the American South. And as a result, I'm sure reenactments are not that strange. I have never attended one, but I have known they were happening near me.
Yeah.
And chose not to be in that place when that was happening.
Yes.
What I was not expecting is the location of this particular, because just to finish that thought, typically in almost every reenactment I've ever again heard about,
Yeah.
it's been like, we are reenacting the Battle of Gettysburg in Gettysburg,
Right.
or in Appomattox, or whatever it happens to be. Cliff, my dear boy, where is this reenactment taking place?
I actually didn't note that. I am so excited.
Fresno, California. You remember the one, don't you? The Battle of Fresno? Who could forget the turning point in the American Civil War? The Battle of Fresno.
Where we pushed back the tide.
Fierce. Where we pushed back the tide and fought for human rights on the front lines of Fresno.
My dearest, how I long to see your face again. I am here on the front lines in Fresno, just waiting. Tomorrow we ship out for the Bay Area.
Tomorrow we head to San Francisco, where I got a very nice crepe, I must say. I
Yes.
must say. Is that's a fancy food, right?
Yeah, grape. That's
Yeah,
good. They're French. That works.
That's a fancy food.
Yeah.
Fresno, California.
I didn't note that it was. I did not note that it was Fresno. I did have the thought of, are they doing this out west? Is this like is Civil War history as big out there as it is here? Because here we have a weird relationship with it here. Let's just be honest. I feel like we've gotten better in recent years, contextualize things a little more appropriately at times. Like I said, around here, Civil War reenacting on an official level does not really happen anymore. So there's been.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. There's been a little bit of progress.
Too many people signing up for one particular side.
Yes, they all wanted to be the North, Harrison.
They're all Yanks. They're all Yanks at heart.
But so we definitely are a little bit steeped in it here and probably a little inoculated to this. So it is shocking. It is shocking to see Californian Civil War reenacting.
Particularly when the guy goes on the whole thing. Again, does not land strangely on our ears. Perhaps a little strangely to 2025 ears, but to the Southern ears, nothing to bat an eye at. The part where he's like, it's just really good to like give these people an opportunity to connect with their heritage.
Yeah. Yeah, I picked
What are
up
you
on
talking
that.
about? What are you talking about? So I did look it up because I was also confused. I was like, no, I'm not a history guy. I need to stop listing the things that I'm not a guy of.
No,
because
it's going to be a
eventually
shirt.
People will figure out that I'm not an anything guy, and then I'll get kicked off the show. But before that happens, what in the world? Whose heritage? You know, I looked it up. California, 1850. Okay, so it was a thing when the Civil War was going on. I actually read a little too much about it. It was kind of interesting about like what they did in the war, but it was nothing happened in California. Of course it didn't. Why would it? You know? So like it was just the heritage part that I was like, so that man over there, the one from Orange County, his heritage is the South.
Well, and they're all doing really bad Southern accents.
Oh, dude, I loved that.
That woman. I have a lot to say about the woman on this. They go
say it all.
Yeah,
say it all.
So we should say they go here to get the period accurate weapons and to find out about clothing and all this, which actually does have. There's a reason to it in the myth because there was a lot of layers of clothing that these people had to wear, and they're testing whether biological material could travel and whether it would actually make its way through and all that kind of stuff. So it is relevant. This wasn't just a field trip for no reason. But they're talking to this woman a lot. Like she's in several different packages because she's the one describing, how this happened or how this might have happened. They go back to her at one point and she's actually in like the field hospital because they're talking about could someone at the time have survived a gunshot like this, which I thought was really interesting and actually a different direction that I hadn't really considered when this was first raised. So they talk to her a lot through the episode. And then towards the end, they cut back to her at some random point and they're making a joke about how this woman, the soldier would have married this woman to protect her honor or whatever. And she makes a joke about the Yankees, which reveals she's a Confederate. Through the whole thing.
Sure does.
Through the whole thing, that's who she's playing.
Which again, that the terrible accent should have been a giveaway, but that was a bit of catharsis for me because everybody thinks that they can do a really good Southern accent.
Yeah.
And B, unfortunately, a lot of them are right. Like, I don't know what it is.
It's not hard,
but it seems to be pretty easily duplicable, right? But and I just like getting nitpicky because I'm a jerk, like Kevin Spacey, that's not the right area of South Carolina. Come on.
That's the thing to get annoyed with Kevin Spacey about.
Why? What'd he do? No. I was gonna leave. I was gonna see if I could like actually get you.
You got you got me on Bigfoot. That's your one for the episode. Okay.
Yes.
I'm on to you now.
You're right. You got my number. But yes, she so presumably chose to play a Southerner, do a bad accent. Nailed it. And you know, I can't. The whole thing deserves a documentary.
Yeah.
Like Californians specifically, because that's what's funny about it, is that this is in Fresno.
Yes.
Californians obsessed with Civil War history is just hysterical. Like, I love that. Okay, let me be clear. Nobody should be obsessed with reenactments. I just really, I don't know. I feel safe in calling that. I don't think that you should be obsessed with those.
It is a weird entry in that expanded Mythbusters universe log book that we have been keeping all throughout the show.
But a great character.
Oh, but a great character.
Would not trade her for anything.
And if we're talking about great characters, let's leave the battlefield behind and talk about what I thought was the best part of this, was the actual testing where they go out to a gun range to actually put this to the test. And we meet someone who immediately was on my list for possibly favorite side character of the season, which is expert marksman Jim Mitchell. This man,
Jim Mitchell,
is so cool.
I mean, I don't think he has a line. Like, now that I'm thinking back to it, I'm not, apart from maybe like asking some clarifying questions about where they want the bullet, which also hilarious way to word that. not anything to do with like that can't be done or that's going to be difficult. He asked the men where they would like the bullet placed and then just figures it out.
Pool shark calling his shot.
I mean,
I think you're right.
That's a cool customer, dude.
I think
that's a cool customer.
The most he says is like talking about when he's setting up, like where he's going to be and how he's going to, do the shot. But
nothing afterwards either.
No.
What a mic drop.
I know.
What a mic drop. Because both Jamie and Adam look at each other like they set it up and they're like, all right. I think they even call it as like take one or attempt one or something like that.
Yeah.
And he does it
on the first try. And this is after, by the way, they'd spent all this time building a rig to hold the gun perfectly still and put a laser sight on it. And they do all this fancy stuff and they can't get it to work. And he just picks up the gun by hand, boom, one shot.
Which I also love imagining that he was in the wings, like shaking his head like, robot can't do it. Robot will never be able to do it.
Didn't have no robots back then.
yes. Like he's not even worried. He's just concerned with the historical inaccuracies.
Exactly.
Like, well, that's absurd.
That would
there
never
ain't
happen.
no robots. That would never. Colonel.
Testing your history knowledge. History knowledge.
I was no. The history was there. I didn't have anything to connect it to for like I had Custer, and I was like cycling through words to robot, and none of them matched, and I couldn't do it, and I fell on my face, and now my nose hurts.
This is why we're going to be replaced. AI would have done it.
AI would have nailed that joke. And probably even made me look like Bigfoot.
Yes, exactly.
AI can do that.
We should also note, you texted this to me because we were both enjoying it so much as we were watching the show. They make the most interesting ballistic shell dummy we've seen so far, is perhaps the way to put it. It's just a pelvis.
It's just a pelvis.
They just got a ballistic
It's just a pelvis.
pelvis that they are going to be firing into. The idea is they're going to fire through a bag of cloth, which simulates the soldier's clothes and contains sperm. They're going to, which has been dyed blue, which I don't even want to know how that happened.
Nope.
They're going to shoot through that and try to hit the ballistics gel crotch and see if there's any material left behind. And so, of course, they make it their ballistics gal.
Of course.
Just
which you know, if we're playing with puns this much, you're telling me I can't get one cum shot joke? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You cannot fill a bag. You cannot fill a bag with skeet. Oh, skeet shooting.
Oh, there it is.
It's not. I didn't even make the joke. I did not even make the joke.
The joke found you, man. Sometimes that's how it works. Jim Mitchell, competition skeet shooter.
The world's finest skeet shooter.
His finest skeet shooter in the entire Civil War.
Oh,
fantastic.
This episode may have predated Get Low. I'm gonna check that.
Yeah,
you keep doing the show. I'm gonna do important things.
I did when I heard the ballistics gal pun. You know, the credits are not until the end of the episode, and we don't have the IMDb listings are not super accurate. So I wait till the end of the episode to find out who wrote it. And when I heard ballistics gal, I said, please tell me this is a Griffiths episode. Because it sounded so much like, no, it's a Mark Barlin episode, but I don't mean to say that in a disappointed way. They were friends, and I still feel like there's some of Anthony's personality coming through in the show. Yep, I heard it. I heard it too. Keep going.
If anything, I'm thrilled that more than one writer has what I would consider to be excellent wordplay sensibility.
Oh yeah.
Get Low came out in 2002, by the way.
So they could have made that joke in this.
They could have made the joke. They could have absolutely made a skeet shooter joke and chose not to. And I don't know if I'm proud of them for that.
Or they did, and it's on the cutting room floor somewhere. Oh, you know, it's in the vault.
Adam. There we go. That's my one question for Adam.
Release the skeeter cut.
At what point? Release the skeet cut. Adam, thank you so much for coming back. To start, I guess I'm wondering, when did you sell out that you would not make this joke? Answer the question, Savage. Answer the question.
Oh man!
Speaking of answering questions,
yeah. Back to the show.
Nailed it.
They did at one point. I thought this was a nice touch, but they didn't quite follow through on it. They set something up and didn't really come back to it. At one point, coming out of a commercial, they say that they're going to now answer. They're going to find the answer to the Civil War's strangest myth, and they just never addressed that it wasn't about states' rights. So, anyway.
How long have you been saving that one?
Since I wrote it.
And how long did you think you had to wait after I was talking about jazz for you to say it?
There did have to be a separation. There
had to be an opening.
I was over here reordering. There was like the Rain Man math going on in my head to find the place for my states' rights joke. We got there.
Nailed it.
We got there.
That's it.
As mentioned, Jim, who takes this so seriously, by the way, I appreciated that. I appreciated the graveness, the gravity that he treated the situation with. He gets it on the first shot. Bullet hits the pouch, hits the dummy perfectly. They actually are going to test the samples of ballistic gel to see if there's any surviving, genetic material on it. And unsurprisingly, there's not. They even test it from closer up, and there's nothing there either. So it's pretty firmly busted at that point. But this is where I thought they made a couple of interesting points. One was, as we talked about earlier, about the likelihood if this did happen, if the 1 in a million happened, you would probably not survive a gut shot like that in the Civil War.
Probably not. I would further say, and yes. Okay, I do know history, actually, a little bit. I am fully aware that it was a thing to go and have a little picnic and just watch a battle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm aware of that. Be that as it may. You catch a stray because you're just checking out this battle. I think you kind of deserve it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
You
I don't know.
You
If
contributed.
If you're just out, if you are recreationally watching a war go down, catch a bullet, friend.
Little bit your fault. A little bit.
Just a teeny bit.
Just a touch.
I just think it's time for a little bit of personal responsibility. Okay. Less on the states' rights, more on the personal responsibility.
Right.
How about that?
Right.
How about that?
I did have, and I've mentioned this several times this season, but I had a moment at the end of this myth where I missed the Heather Joseph Witham opinion because they actually go back to Constance, the Confederate, by the way, who talks about how this was clearly a story probably concocted at some point to explain a pregnancy that otherwise could not be explained. And
But how good is it? How good is it that so many dudes were like, that sounds plausible.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that.
My guys will hold up. Yep.
It worked. Whether or not, I mean, obviously it was a lie.
Yeah.
The lie worked, Cliff.
And a good, but that's the
bought
thing.
it.
That's the thing. You can't go halfway on the lies. You got to go full tilt. And this is a full on crazy lie, and it worked.
Yeah.
But of course, in the end, they do say that this one was busted for every reason you would expect. Clearly, this could not happen. But I love the story and that it persisted this long. And I thought this was great myths too.
Delicious.
Genetic legacy, it's sperm. Any kid in grade school knows that. Helps make babies, you know?
Myth 3, trailer troubles. So this is a story about someone who bought a boat, took it out for a ride, and couldn't get it up to speed. For some reason, it was just being sluggish. It wouldn't work. They call a repairman. The repairman comes looking at the boat. Everything seems fine.
Did you check the electricity?
He checks everything out. Everything seems to be working just fine, but looks in the water and finds, the trailer is still attached. So the question, I guess, is just, can that happen? Like, that's why, so cards on the table at the top. I didn't love this myth. Definitely the weakest of the three, and one of the weaker ones this season for me. Because as soon as they teed that up, I went, yeah, and? Like, I kind of thought, like, where's the only real question is, can a boat float with the trailer attached?
Disagree. I think the only real question is somebody legitimately that stupid?
Oh, I believe this happened. Like,
that's the question.
Oh,
that's what we're testing for.
Yeah, I 100% believe this really happened. I'll say that. Like, somebody definitely just put their boat in the water with the trailer attached. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Have you put a boat in the water before?
Yeah.
There's no reason to detach the trailer at any point in the process.
Well, the guy does make a good point. The boat guy who helps him out, where he says, like, some people, they hear about amphibious things and they think that maybe the trailer is just part of it, was kind of his rationale.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
okay, Mr. Boatman.
It's dumb. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending it, but I definitely believe that somebody somewhere actually did this.
Is that stupid?
Yeah.
I just tend to think of myself as pretty supremely stupid when it comes to outdoor things. Well, but apparently they're coming for my crown.
But also,
that's all I can say.
But also think about outdoor activities in the summer.
No.
Good chance alcohol's involved, right? Good chance that the people doing this are not completely at the tippy top of their faculties. Is all I'm saying.
Okay. You know what? You know what, counselor? I'm going to allow it. But watch yourself. No, that's fair. That's fair. I think, but beer is the only thing that makes this remotely plausible to me.
True. Yeah. I feel like that.
I do agree. I do agree that if alcohol is involved, and let's be honest, it was.
It was.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you think of this as a myth? I feel like I'm being hard on it maybe, but I just didn't think there was any there.
No,
there.
No. It was incredibly boring, not the least of which because like for all of the reasons why the past two have worked out great, there is no real good way to visualize this. Because the visual you get is them going slow as hell on a boat. That's not fun to watch, you know?
Right.
Like that's I might be interested in the outcome, but as far as just sheer watchability, I think it's one of the lower myths that we've had. Yeah.
I do wonder if this is a case because I know that I've heard stories of this happening at other points on the show. I don't know that we've gotten to one yet. It'd be interesting to ask like Andrew if he remembers. If this is one where they were expecting something else to happen and it just worked on the first try and they were like, we don't really have anywhere else to go now. Like if they were expecting it not to float and then they're going to have to go back and make something to make it, something like that. Like they're going to have to keep it going. Because Carrie even says at one point,
and then they can raise the boat with ping pong balls.
There you go. And at some point, Carrie even is kind of like, well, it worked. And like they all kind of seem like, yep, it just happened on the first try. So maybe they intended to go somewhere else and it just, they didn't get that far. I don't know, because that would make more sense to me.
I think there's that, but I also think to me, the writing kind of clues you in that that they were aware that this one was not very interesting when they got it. Is that like Robert Lee specifically has to be like, and this is cool because they got both confirmed in the test. And the guy told us it happened at the boat shop.
They're really selling it.
Okay. Yeah. Which
there was one big highlight, I will say, in this myth for me, is I think in one shot, looking back at the doc, I saw our buddy Peter
Scotty's
Heap.
little hat.
No, it's pretty good. I saw Peter Heap. You could see they've gotten to a point now where they're showing the camera operators a lot more, which is something I've talked about. That really attracted me as a kid to want to do it. And I'm pretty sure it was Peter on the dock with the camera. So that was fun to get to see Peter after we talked to him.
Peter.
Just a couple of months ago. So there was a nice highlight in this myth. But overall, the boat floats with the trailer on it. It slows it way down. They only get up to like 5 miles an hour where they had gotten like 22, 23 miles an hour previously. And that's it. They say it's confirmed. And like you said, the boat guy even tells them, we've done this before. We had to deliver a boat. There was no way to get it there on the trailer. So we strapped the trailer to it, put it in the water and drove it over there on it. And it's, so kind of a deflated a final one for me, but a great episode overall.
Again, I think it says a lot about the other two myths that this one was so bleh, but it still did not bring down the average.
Totally.
Great episode.
Totally agree. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed that episode as much as we did. Come on back next week. Our episode will be breaking glass. This is the myth about can you break glass just with your voice? I remember this. We get our buddies back from like the acousticians guys. Those guys come back.
Yes.
This is one that is seared into my brain. Like I remember.
Okay, come on. Refer to them as their correct technical positions. The sound nerds.
The sound nerds, yes. The sound nerds come back. Thank you for that correction. I appreciate it. I want to be accurate here.
No. You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome for sure. They would have come for you.
Yes.
If you hadn't gotten that right. They're very particular about that.
Very litigious, the sound nerds.
Oh, yes. And believe me, they'll hear about it. I'm gonna leave.
It's a good note to go out on.
Actually, I think I'm not back. I think I quit.
Well, we hope you guys will go watch that episode. You can find it on Max or HBO Max or HBO Zoom, whatever they're calling it this week. I can't keep track anymore. And while you're out there, be sure to leave us a rating and a review. As we said, regular episodes are back. We'll be back every Wednesday moving forward from here. We appreciate you guys sticking with us over the last month or so of odd episodes and timing, but we are back and we are excited. But until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye-bye, bubbies.
Try This at Home is produced by Slugline Media.
The show is written, hosted, edited, and shot onto the internet by Cliff Bumgardner and Harrison Stewart. Our music is by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. You can follow the show on Instagram at TryThisPod or email us trythisathomepod@gmail.com.
Son of a Gun is the story of a civil...
So weird. Oh man. I'm sorry.
Maybe that'll go after the credits. All right, I can do this. I'm like punchy now.